Hello everyone, this is Meenakshi Narula and I welcome you to my channel Mentoring the Mentors. My dear educators, in this video we are going to talk about need and importance of assessment. In the previous video we talked about the definition of assessment, and now let's explore need and importance of assessment. So my dear educators, as you know, assessment is an integral part of teaching learning process, right? Is essential for evaluating the students' progress, the guiding instructions as well, like how we are teaching, whether we are able to help our students achieve the desired or the intended learning outcomes or not, whether the educational goals are met or not. And it serves multiple purposes, from even diagnosing the learning gaps to motivating the students and even ensuring the accountability on both the ends, for the educators as well as for the learners, because educators are accountable for helping the students achieve the desired learning outcomes, and students are accountable to even reflect their learning outcomes in their daily life through various activities and whatever the information they are getting, how they are using in their daily life, right? So, my lovely educators, let's talk about the need and importance in detail, step by step, one point each, and at every step. Measuring learning outcomes, right? Assessment, it helps determine whether students they have acquired the intended knowledge, skills, and attitude, which together we call competency. It provides a clear picture of the student's academic achievement and areas where the improvement is needed. We get to know about the grow and the glow areas of the students, where the students they are growing and where they are glowing, right? So accordingly, as teachers, we will be able to scaffold our students wherever it is required. Now, here comes the feedback and motivation part. When we take the assessment, then obviously we provide the constructive feedback to our students, and this constructive feedback from assessments helps students understand their strength and the areas of improvement, right? And it motivates our students by recognizing their progress and encouraging them to strive for further improvement. Obviously, when the students they get to know where are they right now, what they need to do to move ahead at the top of the ladder of the success in order to achieve the learning outcomes, that helps them with that kind of motivation. Everybody requires motivation, we do require motivation, right? So assessment helps the students to get that kind of motivation through the constructive feedback. So here we need to work on the feedback as well, feedback that should enable the students to move forward, right? So now, as I have been talking about, like it provides the feedback to the learners as well as to the instructors or the mentors or the educators. So teachers, they use this assessment data to assess, to adjust their teaching methods as well, right? And ensure that they meet the needs of all the students. And it helps educators identify what works well, what needs to be improved. Like in our lesson plans, we mentioned sunny and muddy areas, right? What went well and what needs improvement. So accordingly, we may modify the curriculum, the different activities that we plan to complete the desired syllabus for a particular age group, for a particular class, for a particular subject. So that provides the guidelines, right? Instructions, so that we will be able to plan the curriculum accordingly. And now, if we talk about learning gaps and challenges, assessment helps us diagnose where are the learning gaps. When the students they are able to achieve the learning outcome to a particular extent, maybe the child is at the beginner level, the child is at the intermediate or advanced level. So accordingly, we will see where we need to work on, what are the learning gaps, and how through our instructions, through how after the involvement of various strategies, activities, or instructions, or maybe other further planning, we will be able to bridge those learning gaps, right? So early identification of the gaps means timely intervention, and it prevents the students from falling behind. So that is our objective, you see. So this is how we will be able to bridge those learning gaps. Rather, I would like to mention not only the learning gaps, but also the teaching gaps. There are some teaching gaps too. Like, for example, in a classroom, I am teaching to a group of students. Usually in a CBSE classroom, we have 40 students, like that's the ratio. Okay, teacher student ratio is 1:40. So 40 students, they're from different backgrounds, right? They have got different previous knowledge. So accordingly, if I have provided the students with the further knowledge, I have planned different activities to, when I start mapping the learning outcomes through the assessment, I will get to know where are the teaching gaps too. What I didn't do earlier, maybe I need to talk about those topics too. Maybe everybody is not at the same level. So it helps us overcome those teaching as well as the learning gaps, right? So that is the need and the importance of assessment. So critical thinking and self-reflection, self-assessment and the peer assessment activities, they are being conducted during this assessment process. So critical thinking, self-regulation and responsibility of one's learning, this is being promoted through assessment, specifically when we go ahead with assessment as learning, right? When we conduct different kinds of assessments, the students, they get to know where are the learning gaps, what the student has to do now, where the teacher's help or teacher's intervention is required. So it encourages students to reflect on their progress, and they will be able to set their personal learning goals, right? At their own pace, they will be able to achieve their own desired goals. And now here comes accountability, as we have already been talking about accountability and quality assurance. Assessment holds both the teachers as well as the students accountable for the performance, right? At our schools, we use assessment, we get the results, we want to evaluate the effectiveness of the program, and we want to ensure the high quality education, right? This is what we do, all the teachers, all the principals, right? We lay certain guidelines and we follow it, we map whether it is working or not, where we need to change, right? So this is how we keep on working there. So supports the lifelong learning. In my one of the videos, I have been talking about 21st century skills, where I stressed on continuous and lifelong learning. So by developing problem solving, analytical, self-evaluation skills, assessment prepares the students for the lifelong learning. Rather, I must say, as teachers also, we get prepared for the lifelong learning. A teacher is a learner first. So it equips the learners with the ability to assess their performance and continuously improves both in academic and the professional context, right? That helps us to learn throughout the life, right? And we will be able to grow throughout the life, right? So, and slowly, because when we grow, then certainly we glow as well. So also it aligns with the educational goals and the policies. Assessment ensures compliance with the educational standards, because for different age groups, for different boards, right? Whatever we have planned, accordingly we plan our assessment. For different age groups, maybe for the foundational stage, preparatory stage, middle stage, for the senior stage, we have got different sort of assessment, right? So it provides evidence of the student achievement to the stakeholders, to the parents, right, including educators and the policy makers. Everybody gets to know about the various evidences, like, yes, the student is able to achieve the desired, the intended learning outcomes that have been specified for a particular age group, right? So this is how we are able to align this with the assessment, with the educational goals, right? So and if I talk about conclusion, right, before I conclude whatever is mentioned here on the screen, I just would like to mention this is about need and importance, whatever we have been talking throughout these slides. Through a few minutes ago, we have started talking about it. But here I would also like to mention, when we go ahead with the assessment, we also should be very clear about what are we going to assess, right? What are we going to assess means on what parameters we are going to assess, whether I am going to assess the student's subjective knowledge, like maybe the lower order thinking skills, or I'm going to assess the hot sets, the higher order thinking skills. Means I do not want my children to regurgitate whatever I have taught in the class, but I want my students to use that knowledge for the higher order thinking skills, maybe analysis, evaluation, or maybe the creativity. So it will also happen, like I may be able to assess my students' individual learning, or maybe I want to assess how my child performs being in a team, like collaboration as well. Maybe I want to assess a particular subject knowledge, or I want to assess how the child is able to integrate that subject knowledge with the other subject that the child has been studying in the school as a part of the curriculum that has been designed for a particular class or particular age group. So we first need to clear what are we going to assess. So we will be talking about this in detail in the next video, but let's conclude for now. Assessment is not merely about grading or the ranking the students, right? Our objective is not to label the child, is not able to come with the report card with the marks or the grades or whatever. It's a comprehensive process that supports and enhances learning. It helps the educators improve their teaching practices, and it ensures that educational goals are effectively achieved. So these, if we talk about these 3 points, right? We talk about the students, we talk about the learners, we talk about the educational goals. So assessment provides a comprehensive detail about all these aspects. So stay tuned for more just at Mentoring the Mentors. Have a nice day. Like, subscribe, share. Do recommend my channel to the other teachers in your community, right? And do subscribe to the channel if you want to have notifications related to upcoming videos. Thank you. Have a nice day.